All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Office of Assessment and Standards office hours. Today's presentation is Are You Down with the OTT? Exploring the Online Tools Training Module and SC Ready Updates. I am one of your facilitators today. I am Crystal Huckabee. I am the SC Ready Program Manager, and I am joined today by two others. If you'll please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Dasher, and I develop SC Ready Math for grades 3 through 5.
Hello, everyone. I am Lori Washington, and I developed the SC Ready Math 6 through 8 test and the Algebra 1 EOCEP test.
Thank you, guys. Before we begin today, I'd like to go over our disclaimer on the use of artificial intelligence. The content presented is the intellectual property of the South Carolina Department of Education. By participating in this event, attendees agree they will not record, capture, or share its contents without permission. Attendees agree they will not use artificial intelligence to capture or summarize the contents of the event. The SCDE reserves the right to remove attendees using these services. So thank you for not using Note Taker or other AI tools during this presentation today. So here's what we have on the agenda for today. We're going to begin with our SC Ready Math Blueprints. We'll look at SC Ready 3 through 8 math field testing. We'll move on and talk about changes to SC Ready Math. We'll do a deep dive on the online tools training, and then we'll have an opportunity for questions and answers at the end. Okay, so to start with, we're going to look at the SC Ready Blueprint, SC Ready Math Blueprints. So what is a test blueprint? Blueprints are very essential and important because they specify not only the total number of items in each grade level test, but also the approximate number of items that students can expect to see per reporting category. The DOK, depth of knowledge range, is also listed, as well as the minimum and maximum percentages of each DOK level on the test. You can access these blueprints on our assessment quick links for teachers page. And I believe Laura has placed that link in the chat to make it easily accessible for you guys. So we're going to look at some of the key differences, grades 3 through 5, between the blueprints for our previous standards and currently what we're looking at. So the old blueprint for 2015, we had 5 reporting categories that were aligned to key concepts. That has now been reduced to 4 reporting categories, and now those are aligned to strands. So difference here is the number of categories, and instead of key concepts, we're looking at strands. Another difference is the different number of items per grade. Our old blueprint, we ranged from 50 to 62 items. Now, all grades have 50 operational items. There were no technology enhanced items in grades 3 through 5 on our old blueprint. The new blueprint for grades 3 through 5, we do see technology enhanced items. Multi-select items were in grade 5 on the old blueprint. Now, multi-select items are no longer in development, but to fulfill the blueprint and meet state law, students will still see multi-select items in grades 3 through 5. They will be told to only select 2 answer options in these multi-select items. Moving on to grades 6 through 8, looking at the differences here. On the old blueprint, again, 5 reporting categories that were aligned to key concepts. New blueprint, 4 reporting categories aligned to 4 strands. That's the same as grades 3 through 5. Old blueprint, we had 60 to 62 items per grade level. New blueprint, again, we've reduced that to 50 operational items across all grade levels. We had multi-select items in grades 6 through 8 under the old blueprint. And with the new blueprint, these multi-select items are being phased out across all grade levels. And again, you can access those blueprints for yourself using the quick links that Laura has dropped in the chat. All right, moving on to SC Ready Math Field Testing. We're looking at extra field testing for spring 2026 only. So grades 3 through 5 will have extra field testing as mandated by the Education Accountability Act. The purpose of field testing is described in the June 24th, 2025 memo, SC Ready and EOCEP updates. SC Ready Math is going to be a 2-day test for grades 3 through 5 only, and that is to accommodate those extra items. And both parts of the SC Ready Math test for grades 3 through 5 must be administered in the same week. And that means a Monday to Friday, Monday through Friday. They must be administered in the same week. That does not mean that they have to be administered on consecutive days, just within the same week. Okay, so for grades 6 through 8, again, we will have extra field testing as mandated by the EAA. The purpose of field testing is described in that same memo from June 24th, titled SC Ready and EOCEP Updates. Unlike Math 3 through 5, there is not an extra day to accommodate extra items. So Math 6 through 8 will continue to be a 1-day test.
All right. Thank you so much, Crystal, for those updates. Now we're going to talk specific about changes to SC Ready Math in grades 3 through 5. So key changes for SC Ready Math, starting in spring 2026, SC Ready Math for grades 3 through 5 will include new technology-enhanced item types. Some examples of these new item types are drag and drop, hotspot, matching, keypad input, clock, bar graph, and dot plot input. For a complete list of item types and their descriptions, you'll want to refer to our item types and descriptions document, also on our assessment quick links for teacher page, which is that link in the chat. So to help students practice these new item types, the online tools training, or OTT, is available, and we will take a closer look at the OTT later in the presentation. So some items on SC Ready Math will require students to use a measurement tool. Some students may need to use the tool to access one or more of the following: a centimeter ruler or an inches ruler. So for grades 3 and 4, students will use a ruler marked to the nearest 1/4 inch, and for grade 5, the ruler will be marked to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to play a video so you can see what it would look like for students during testing. If it will let me, yes. So in the OTT, the inches ruler is the ruler grades 3 and 4 will see, which is there. It's easy to move around. And then the centimeter ruler is the ruler all students in grades 3 through 5 will see. So there'll be a difference in the grades 3, 4 ruler versus the 5th grade inches ruler, but all students will see the same centimeters ruler. Another key change, which is just specific to grades 4 and 5, they will include having a reference sheet. So these sheets will be available in the online testing system for students testing online and as a paper supplement for students taking the paper version of this test. These reference sheets provide students with conversions that align to their grade level indicators. These reference sheets were developed by teachers, and teachers decided what should go on each sheet. There's not a third grade reference sheet, and that's simply because of the way the indicators were written for that grade led to there not being a need for such a tool. All right, so here we will now see how students will access the reference sheets in the online system. If I find my mouse. So similar to how students access the scoring rubric during their TDW portion of their SC Ready ELA test, during their math test, they will also have access to the references sheet. And that's an example of the 4th grade. All right, so those are the big changes for grades 3 through 5.
All right. I'm going to now talk to you about the changes to the SC Ready Math for grades 6 through 8. For grades 6 through 8, the key changes that are coming up this year is the calculator and no calculator section. The calculator and no calculator sections will switch order. This means the no calculator section will come first, followed by the calculator section. Both sections must be completed in the same day. For SC Ready Math 6 through 8, they will have new technology enhanced item types beginning this spring. Some examples include the angle draw and statistical graph response. Some technology enhanced items have updated functionality, such as the graphing input. So they've already had that before, but it's a little more user-friendly. So for the full list of the item types and descriptions, you will go to our link on the assessment quick links for teachers page. And to practice the new item types, they are on the online tools training. Some of the other key changes here are the measurement tool. So we will now have a measurement tool. And on that measurement tool, we will have access, or the students will have access to one of the following: either a centimeter ruler, an inches ruler, or a protractor, depending on the item and what's needed for that particular item. And for grades 6 through 8, they could have the centimeter or the inches or both, depending on what the item is calling for. So the reference sheets. So grades 6 through 8 will have reference sheets available in the online system for online testers and as a paper supplement for paper testers. The reference sheets will provide information that's aligned to the grade level indicators. So for example, grades 6 and 7, the reference sheets there will provide conversions, just measurement conversions. And for grade 8, the reference sheet will provide formulas as indicated on the standards. And just like Laura said, these the information on the reference sheets, this was decided by committee of teachers when they did the standards. This is just a quick glance at all 3, 6th, 7th, and 8th reference sheets. For grade 7, as you can see, it's a little bit lengthier or longer because it does include the conversions from 6th grade and then the conversions, the metric and customary at the bottom. So you'll notice when you look at that on the online tools training, you'll see that the 7th grade sheet, the students online, they'll have to scroll down when they look at that grade 7 sheet. All right, so the next agenda item is looking at the online tools training and the item type examples for grades 3 through 8.
And sorry to cut in, I'm going to include a link to the online tools training in the chat. So if you wanted to look at it while we're talking about it, it'll be in there.
Okay, good. All right, just some information on the online tools training and its importance, that the students are familiar, that you as a teacher and the students are familiar. It's the resource students and teachers can use to interact with the online platform, and it has the different item types that are found on our assessments. So it's important that students understand how to effectively use the online tools to enhance the testing experience. And it also provides a resource for teachers to use when designing items for classroom assessments and for classroom assessments that reflect the structure of the state assessment items. On the next slide, we just have some tools. So depending on the grade level and the item type, the toolbar or the menu bar may change. So you might see an item, for example, if you look at the first example from let's say the 6th grade science OTT, you can see that it has the calculators and things of that nature for that particular grade level and that particular item type. You'll see for some items where you have like a measurement, that's when the measurement tool will pop up, and then other items it may not pop up. So it's important that students are looking at those toolbars and they're familiar with what's on the toolbar and how to use them and know that they have access to those tools. So for grades 3 through 8, grades 3 through 5, all new technology enhanced items. Okay, for grades 6 through 8, some things are just a little bit better, and that's a couple things that are new. When we look at our OTT this year, we have reflected those things in the OTT. So first, I'm going to go through just the new stuff for grades 6 through 8. And then Laura's going to talk about the technology enhanced items for grades 3 through 5. Many of the items that will come in elementary school will serve as like a review or a refresher for grades 6 through 8, since this is something that grades 6 through 8 has already had. Okay, but the first new item type is the angle draw input. So with this particular problem, this is where students are going to be able to use the protractor and measure an angle. So they're presented with a ray. So if you look on in the picture, and we're going to play a little video in just a second, they're presented with the ray and they have to demonstrate their knowledge by drawing an appropriate angle as the response. All right, so if you notice here, the protractor was pulled down so that we could measure that angle. And the student will measure and select the measurement that they choose. And then once they click down in that response area, that angle will snap to that particular measurement that they chose. So that is the angle draw input item type. All right, the next one is a new item type. It's the statistical graph input. And so for this one, students are presented with an item and the students demonstrate their knowledge by constructing a bar graph or histogram to answer statistical items. So if you look here in the video, the student will read the problem and find, for example, in this histogram, the intervals, and match it to whatever the item is asking them to do. And the bars will snap to whatever, however they're high or low that they click, and they can easily undo what they've done to fix any errors or anything like that. And once they've done that, all of these things will save automatically. They don't have to click a save button or anything like that. So that was the statistical graph input. All right, the next one, and this is the last new item for grades 6 through 8 math. So like I said, the rest of them that Laura will talk about for elementary will be sort of a review for middle school. But the graphing input is something that students have had in the past. It's not a brand new thing. However, the system is now updated. It's enhanced. It's a little more user-friendly. The toolbar is going to be just a little bit different, and it's going to be a little bit easier, in my opinion, to be able to respond to the questions. So the students are presented with a graph, and they are expected to respond by, they could be asked to plot points or draw a line or labeling parts of a graph or something like that in the item. So let's take a look at how that will function. So in this item, the students were asked to draw a rhombus. Using the vertices that are given, and they were easily able to draw the rhombus. The response that the student puts in there is blue. And like I said, it will save when they go into the next question and come back, it will be there. It will automatically save. Okay, so that was the enhanced graphing input, and Laura is ready to talk about the new item types for elementary 3 through 5.
Yes. All right, so we are going to go over all the item types students will see for grades 3 through 5. I know this is the big new thing. And there are 10 item types that we will be going over and what students could experience during testing. So the first item type we are going to look at is the graphing input. Making sure it's playing. Here we go. There we go. Ooh. Does not want to play, but I'll explain it. Hopefully the next one will play. So the student is presented with a graph, and the student is expected to respond by plotting points, drawing a line, or labeling parts of the graph. This item type will be for grades 4 and 5. I'm going to try that video one more time. Doesn't want to go. Okay, we'll go to the next one. But the students will grab their points and plot, being able to create a rectangle. And again, you can find this item type. It's question 8, and the link to the OTT is in the chat. And we're going to cross fingers the rest of the videos work. All right, the next item type is the drag and drop input. That video works, we're good. Students click on selectable objects and sort them into groups, steps, or other arrangements to demonstrate their knowledge. Some examples of selectable objects include single numerical values, numerical expressions or equations, graphs, statements, operational signs, geometric figures, and tables. This is question 9 in the OTT, and it's simply students have collections of coins and they are dragging and dropping the amount that the collection represents. The next item type is drop-down input. Students are expected to select their response from a drop-down list or drop-down menu. This item in the OTT is also where students are going to be in grades 3 through 5 using their measurement tool. And I want to make sure it's clear that not all measurement items are also going to be TEs. In this example, they combine, but there will be some measurement items that are just simply measuring something versus including a TE, technology enhanced feature. The next item type is what we call hotspot. So students interact with selectable objects to demonstrate their knowledge, skills, and abilities to answer a question. Selectable objects include whole or parts of figures, graphs, tables, verbal descriptions, or symbolic representations. In this example here, question 11 on the OTT, we want to make sure you know that equivalent responses will be marked correct. So here they wanted to represent 6/8. The student could do your classic, first 6 chunks, but they can also do other ways of representing that fraction, and all would be marked correct. All right, the next item type is what we call keypad input. This is number 12 on your OTT and number 13. Students are presented with an item. The student is asked to respond by writing their numerical answer or writing a mathematical expression or equation to answer the item. In this video, you will notice the 2 different types of keypads, one that is a simple keypad, which was in the beginning, and one that expects students to write an equation or expression. So students may see both within their test, it just depends on the item. The next item type is what we call dot plot input. It's number 14. So pretty simple. Students are presented with a line graph. The student is expected to respond by plotting data points to create a correct dot plot. And this item type is just for grades 3 and 4. Our next item is what we call matching. So students demonstrate their knowledge by connecting a line from each response in a set of graphics on the left side of the screen to a response in a set of graphics on the right side of a screen. And know that when we say graphics, that could include a phrase, acute angle. We consider that a graphic. So it's not always going to just be pictures connecting to pictures. Could include phrases. The next item type is the match interaction table. So students are presented with a matrix or table consisting of mathematical or English statements across columns and rows. Students demonstrate their knowledge by selecting one or more correct answer per row to associate correct statements in the matrix or table. And that is question 16 on the OTT for grades 3 through 5. And the second to last item, on item number 9, is the bar graph input. Students are presented with an item. The students demonstrate their knowledge by selecting the height of each bar to create a bar graph. And just like dot plot, this will be just for grades 3 and 4. So 5th graders do not get to make a bar graph, but 3rd and 4th do. All right, and last but not least, we have the clock input, or clock item. And I'm going to play it first before I describe it for just a moment. The students will be presented with an item that includes a clock, missing the minute and hour hands. The student is expected to respond by selecting the correct locations of the hour hand and minute hand on an analog clock face. This will just be for grades 3 and 4. In this video, be sure to take note on the placement of the hour hand. That will definitely be something you want to practice with your students during your time unit, during review, morning work, whatever is your typical systems in your classroom. We have gotten lots of questions from the field and maybe questions you could be having right now about how will this be scored. Somewhat similar to how we take equivalent responses, there's also a range that will be accepted on where the hour hand and minute hand could be placed and still be marked correct. A committee of teachers determined what they felt was a reasonable range for where the hour or minute hand could be. So teachers looked at each clock item and determined its unique range for scoring. That committee I just mentioned is what we call our content review committee. So a little shameless plug to apply to our committees and to participate and help develop items just like this one for SC Ready Math. We have our committees every summer, and the application is on our quick links for teacher page that we included in the meeting chat. All right, so we've gone through all the item types, updates for SC Ready Math. We now want to encourage you all to take the next 10 minutes to explore the OTT on your own. We will set a timer on the screen, and we want you all to come back so that you can complete our feedback survey, which also includes your way of getting your renewal credit certificate. So make sure you come back after 10 minutes. And I will resubmit that link for the OTT in just a moment. Or maybe Crystal or Lori, if y'all could put the OTT link in the chat, that would be great, if it isn't already there. And then also after that 10 minutes, we'll, again, like I said, give you time to do the survey. And then we have a question from the field related to our session that we will also go over for our question and answer session. It is our question and answer time, but they have to have been pre-submitted. So go now and explore the OTT. And I will set a timer on our screen to come back in 10 minutes.
right, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you found some benefit to going through the OTT there. In the chat, I have tried to respond to as many questions as I could. I also placed an additional resource there. Our Office of Special Education Services has created a supplemental training video geared especially toward our students with disabilities on how they can effectively use those universal supports within the OTT. So I placed the link there for you guys. It may be beneficial for you to go through that and see how you can best use that with those students. If you posed a question here in the chat that was not responded to, if you would please include that on your feedback form, and someone from our team will reach out to you with a response to your question. Okay. Laura has now shared her screen again. You should see feedback and questions. There is a QR code there for you. If you would please scan that, you can complete our post-session survey. Again, this session title was Are You Down with the OTT? Exploring the Online Tools Training Module and SC Ready Updates.
And I also included the survey in the chat, the link to the survey. And once you complete it, you should get a certificate for renewal credits after completion. If you don't, let us know, but that is how it has been structured, so you can get your renewal credit.
Yeah. Another question that popped up, a couple of people asked about a recording. When the session is over, we'll finalize the recording, it'll be processed, and then it will be disseminated to participants. Okay.
So we'll maybe give everyone like 1 more minute if they needed to scan, again, the links in the chat. And we'll go to the pre-submitted question. There's only one. All right, so for our pre-submitted question today, we've gone over it, but we just wanted to reiterate. The question is, does the DRC Insight OTT math training expose students in grades 3 through 5 to all SC Ready technology enhanced item types they will encounter on SC Ready? The answer is yes. The SC Ready Math OTT for grades 3 through 5 exposes students to all technology enhanced item types, as well as the 2 different types of keypads a student could interact with. So what I'm on the left, what I'm kind of calling that simple keypad, and then on the right, it's the keypad where a student could input an expression or input an equation, and that's for grades 3 through 8. Yes, Lori?
Yes, that it does
Okay,
apply to grades
3, 5.
3. Yeah, 6 through 8. They will have similar keypads as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you all so much. Again, complete that feedback form, and we will email you if you have questions that you submit in the feedback form if we haven't answered them already in the chat. All right, y'all have a great rest of your day.